Hello, and welcome to Not Fake News. Ninth Circuit unanimously denies reinstatement of Trump's travel ban. Story by Bridget Johnson from PJ Media. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously denied the Trump administration's motion to toss a federal judge's temporary restraining order out of the executive action temporarily stopping refugee entry and all entry from 7 Muslim-majority nations. The 3-judge panel, Judge William C. Canby, Jr., appointed by President Carter, Judge Richard Clifton, appointed by President George W. Bush, and Judge Michael T. Friedland, appointed by President Obama. Interesting. Reviewing the Justice Department's challenge in the case brought by this Washington State Attorney General, heard arguments from both parties on Tuesday. To rule on the government's motion, we must consider several factors, including whether the government has shown that it is likely to succeed on the merits of its appeal, the degree of hardship caused by a stay or its denial, and the public interest in granting or denying a stay. This 29-page ruling states we asses, if you ask me, those factors in light of the limited evidence put forward by both parties at this very preliminary stage, and are mindful that our analysis of the hardships and public interest in this case involves particularly sensitivity and weighty concerns on both sides. Nevertheless, we hold that the government has shown a likelihood of success on the merits or its appeal, nor has it shown that failure to enter a stay would cause irreparable injury, and we therefore deny its emergency motion for a stay. Out of the claims of various constitutional violations brought by Washington and Minnesota, the court found the due process claims most convincing. The government has not shown that it is likely to succeed on appeal on its arguments about at least the state's due process cause claim, and we also note that the serious nature of the allegations the state has raised with respect to their religious discrimination claims. The judges wrote, "We express no view as to any of the state's other claims." Later elaborating on the claims that the order constitutes a Muslim ban, we reserve consideration of these claims until the merits of this appeal have been fully briefed. On the Justice Department's argument that most of our individuals affected the executive order have no rights under the due process clause, the court underscored the procedural protection provided by the Fifth Amendment's due process clause are not limited to citizens. Rather, they apply to the persons within the United States, including aliens, regardless of whether their presence here is lawful, unlawful, temporary, or permanent. V. Davis, 533 U.S. 678 693 2001. These rights also apply to certain aliens attempting to re-enter the United States after traveling abroad. Landon versus Placida, 459 U.S. 2133-34, 1982. The government has provided no affirmative argument showing that the state's procedural due process claims fail as to these categories of aliens. For example, the government has failed to establish the law permanent residents have no due process rights when seeking to re-enter the United States. The judges declined to restrict the scope of the temporary restraining order because that omits aliens who are in the United States unlawfully, and those individuals have due process rights as well. Even if the trio might be overbroad in some respects, it is not our role to try to affect or rewrite the executive order, they added. The court dismissed the argument, and the order's waiver to power constitutes a sufficient safety valve for those who suffer unnecessarily, saying the government has offered no explanation to how these provisions would function In practice, how would the nation's interest be determined? Who will make that determination and when? The Ninth Circuit judge didn't take well to DOJ lawyer August Flange's argument on Tuesday that federal judges didn't have the authority to review executive orders because the president has unreviewable authority to suspend the emission of any class of aliens. There is no precedent to support the claim unreviewably, which runs contrary to the fundamental structure of our constitutional democracy, they wrote. The Supreme Court has repeatedly and explicitly rejected the notion that the political branches have unreviewable authority over immigration or not subject to the Constitution when policymaking in that context. After citing many cases to make their point, the judges added, in short, although courts owe consideration deference to the president's policies, determinations with respect to immigration and national security it is beyond question that the federal jurisdiction retains the authority to adjudicate constitutional challenges to executive action. The Washington Attorney General tweets, denied, unanimous, per curiam. Donald J. Trump tweets, see you in court. The security of our nation is at stake. Hillary Clinton, I'm sorry, 3-0, unanimous. You know, Hillary, you made it worse, because for a second there, when they said denied, unanimous, I forgot that there were only 3 judges, and I thought like a room full of people denied him. And thank you, because so now I realize it's just those 3, what's the word? Democrat liberal judges assigned by Bush, Obama, and whoever else that was mentioned. Senator Tom Cotton said, Trump's order is plainly legal under the Constitution of our immigration laws. No foreigner has a constitutional right to enter the United States, and courts ought not second-guess sensitive national security decisions of the president, Cotton said. This misguided ruling is from the Ninth Circuit, that most notorious left-wing court in America, and the most reversed court at the Supreme Court. I'm confident that the administration's position will ultimately prevail. Senate Minority Leader Chuck the Cryberry Schumer said Trump ought to see the handwriting on the wall and that his executive order is unconstitutional. He should abandon the proposal, roll up his sleeves, and come up with a real bipartisan plan to keep us safe, Schumer said. And then he went and cried in the corner. All right, I got one more article for you by Hillary. Right after attacking President Trump, Trump just humiliated John McCain in the best way possible, by Danny Gold from Liberty Writers. It's no grand secret that John McCain is not a fan of Donald Trump. Still, he has no business coming out of the trashing President Trump's fight on terror. McCain claimed that Trump's raid on Al-Qaeda in Yemen was a failure, considering it led to the death of a Navy SEAL and a young girl. What he didn't mention was the key info obtained in Al-Qaeda leaders after the raid, and the fact that there were words that they knew that they were coming from a leak in Obama's administration, so I've heard. Trump was not happy with a loser like McCain trashing not only him, but the legacy of the fallen SEAL. He lashed out on Twitter and took McCain down on the floor in 3 epic tweets. Senator McCain should not be talking about the success or failure of a mission to the media. Only emboldens the enemy. He's been losing so long he doesn't know how to win anymore. Just look at the mess our country's in, bogged down in conflict all over the place. Our hero, Ryan, died on a winning mission, according to General Mattis. Not a failure. Time for the U.S. to get smart and start winning again. The tweet reads, just read that. You know, for years, I heard that John McCain was a military guy and a war hero. But let's clarify those claims real fast. McCain was captured and held as a POW, probably cracked and spilled the beans in Vietnam for 5 years, which does suck. However, he is no great military mind. His daddy, John S. McCain Sr., was a great commander, but McCain Jr., not so much.
Referring to John McCain, a war hero, 5.5 years as a POW, and you call him a dummy. Is that appropriate in running for president? You got to let me speak though, Frank, because you interrupt all the time, okay? So, no, I don't do well. That's the problem. Let's take John McCain. I'm in Phoenix. We have a meeting that's going to have 500 people at the Biltmore Hotel. We get a call from the hotel. It's turmoil. Thousands and thousands of people are showing up. 3-4 days before, they're pitching tents on the hotel grass. The hotel says, we can't handle it. It's going to destroy the hotel. We move it to the convention center. We have 15,000 people. John, the biggest one ever. Bigger than Bernie Sanders, bigger than 15,000 people showed up to hear me speak. Bigger than anybody. And everybody knows it. A beautiful day with incredible people that were wonderful, great Americans, I will tell you. John McCain goes, oh boy, Trump makes my life difficult. He had 15,000 crazies show up. Crazies. He called them all crazy. I said, they weren't crazy. They were great Americans. These people, if you would have seen these people, I know what crazy is. I know all about crazies. These weren't crazy. So he insulted me, and he insulted everybody in that room. And I said, somebody should run against John McCain, who has been, in my opinion, not so hot. And I supported him. I supported him for president. I raised $1 million for him. It's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. 5.5 years. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you. Do you agree with that? He's a war hero because he was captured, okay? You can have, and I believe perhaps he's a war hero, but right now he said some very bad things about a lot of people. So what I said is, John McCain, I disagree with him that these people aren't crazy. And, very importantly, and I speak the truth, he graduated last in his class at Annapolis. I said, nobody knows that. I said he graduated last. He graduated last in his class at Annapolis. And he was upset. I said, why, for telling the truth? See, you're not supposed to say that somebody graduated last or second to last in their class, because you're supposed to be, like Frank says, very nice. Folks, I want to make America great again. We want to get down to brass tacks. We don't want to listen to his stuff with being politically correct and everything has... We have a lot of work to do. Frank, the other day Hillary Clinton got up and she said, I didn't like Mr. Trump's tone. We have people, Christians, having their heads cut off in the Middle East. We have people dying all over the border, where I was right, 100% right. We have all of this, like medieval times, and she said, I didn't like his tone. And you know who else said that? Jeb Bush. I didn't like his tone. What does it have to do with tone? We want results. This group wants results. We don't want that. So we've got people lined up for questions. I just got one more, because you used the word Christian. Have you ever asked God for forgiveness? That's a tough question. I don't think in terms of, I'm a religious person. Shockingly, because people are so shocked when they find this out, I'm Protestant, I'm Presbyterian, and I go to church, and I love God, and I love my church. And Norman Vincent Peale, the great...
I was just thinking about when he said he's not a hero. You know what? He's right. He's a war victim. He's not a hero. A hero is a guy who runs into battle and drags out two of his friends who are almost dead and saves them, or tries saving them, or dies saving them. That's what a hero is. A war victim is someone who gets caught and probably spills the beans. You know what? All right, I'll say he's. We'll give him war hero. You know, I'm not even gonna say we give him war hero because who says that that's a hero? He went to the army, wherever he went, gets caught. And then I don't know. Let me just stop. It's late. I'm sorry. Head's not working right now.
Norman Vincent Peale was my pastor. The power of positive thinking. Everybody's heard of Norman, and I love my church. And Norman Vincent Peale, the great Norman Vincent Peale was my pastor. The power of positive thinking. Everybody's heard of Norman Vincent Peale. He was so great. He would give a sermon. You never wanted to leave. Sometimes we have sermons, and every once in a while we think about leaving a little early, right? Even though we're Christian. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Frank, would give a sermon. I'm telling you, I still remember his sermons. It was unbelievable. And what he would do is he'd bring real-life situations, modern-day situations, into the sermon. And you could listen to him all day long. When you left the church, you were disappointed that it was over. He was the greatest guy. And then, you know, he passed away, but he was a great... He wrote The Power of Positive Thinking, which is a great book.
But have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
Ha ha ha.
I'm not sure I have. I just go on and try and do a better job from there. I don't think so. I think if I do something wrong, I think I just try and make it right. I don't bring God into that picture. I don't. Now, when I take, you know, when we go in church and when I drink my little wine, which is about the only wine I drink, and have my little cracker, I guess that's a form of asking for forgiveness, and I do that as often as possible because I feel cleansed, okay? But, you know, to me that's important. I do that. But in terms of officially, I could say absolutely, and everybody, I don't think in terms of that. I think in terms of let's go on and let's make it right.
So let's... Microphone one, please.
Thank you.
Mr. Trump.
Yes, sir.
Respectfully, we remember the 1992 election. Ross Perot cost us that election.
Right.
Would you go on record today saying that if you can't get the Republican nomination, you will not run as a third-party candidate?
No. I won't go on record as saying that. Look, why not? I want this country. This country has great potential. But soon it's not going to have that potential because we're being drained by incompetent leaders, by horrible people. As an example, with the Iran deal, which is a total disaster, we didn't get our 4 hostages back. That's just one aspect of it. And just this morning, and yesterday, Kerry, Secretary Kerry, who's the worst negotiator. I mean, he didn't read the art of the deal, folks. So Secretary Kerry said very strongly, I just told, he said very strongly, we didn't want to bring up the hostages. We didn't want to complicate our deal. That was the reason. We didn't want to what does it do?
What does that mean? That's amazing. He said, we don't want to complicate things and bring up the hostages. Wow. That big-headed Kerry is a big jerk. You know, it's very important that you see a video, so I'm gonna add this video right now because it's very important that you see it. This is just gonna be, I feel like it's necessary that everyone watch it.
I'll do
Okay?
a slice of cheese. It's working as expected.
We have a video of it. You could go on YouTube and see it, but right now I just want you to see this. I hope we have enough time on the meter. Looks like we might. Let's see. Okay.
Security specialist now in Iraq. What John said in a video that he posted on Saturday went instant. I was in it any longer, he said. Here's the video. Damn. That boy's just like a rock. Freaking tank.
Everybody and talk about a certain subject that came up the other morning, and I think people should know about it. Obviously, I don't work over in the United States. I work overseas, and I'm currently in Iraq, which
say, there's some brave Muslim people to roll up on this guy and yell. That's all I wanted to say. I don't even care if you're holding a gun, you're holding this, you're a rocket launcher in your hands. Yeah. This guy is a Marine. Even if he wasn't one of the dieselest people I've ever seen. Look at this shit. They must be nuts.
And screaming about their opinion on things. I asked a simple question, and I got an answer to that simple question, and I got it without hesitation. My simple question was, as an American, if I went out in town right now, would I be welcome?
If I went out in town right now.
They instantly said, absolutely not, you would not be welcome. And I said, okay, so what would happen if I went out in town? And they said, the locals would snatch me up and kill me within an hour. I'd be tortured first, and after they were done torturing me, I'd probably be beheaded. It would, go on video for everybody to see as, an example. And so I already knew this was going to happen, but I wanted to hear it from them. And, the point of it is, the point I'm trying to make is, this is the local populace that would do this. This isn't ISIS. This isn't Al-Qaeda. This isn't the PMU. This isn't a militia from the Iranians or anything like that. This is the local populace that would do this. So my question to them was pretty simple then, after that. If you would do this to me in your country, why would I let you in my country? Because all this means to me is that if you had the opportunity to take the life of an American, you would do it. So maybe that's something you all need to think about back then.
Yeah, exactly. Think about what he just said. If you had the opportunity to take the life of an American, you would do it. Now think of what that means is, imagine you're in a dark alley.
No, I'm not going to put you
know,
through that. I babbled with that.
If you had the opportunity to kill me, you would. Now this can't be all Muslims. I mean, I know that I've never seen a Muslim in America.
I ranted on with that for a second.
Act.
To believe that countries feel some of these cultures.
What he has to say is important.
If this is the way some of these cultures feel, this is the way that these countries feel about Americans, why would you be so naive to believe that if they came to the United States, they would do anything any different than what they would do right here in their own country? I don't know, man. Just trying to inform you about what's actually happening on the ground in one of the banned countries. Something you should probably think about. I can't go out in town here. Why should they go out in town in my country?
Okay, real quick. If you want to see this full video, because what happens is, not 16 hours from this video, the time he did this video, he had to be rushed out of the country by our government because for some strange reason. And you see him on the plane, and he's got a video in that. So we had the full video. Just look. You could put in the title. It's what does it say here? Not fake news exclusive. Active Marine proves Trump's right. About Muslims and travel ban, must see. Okay, so you can go see that. It's one of, or you can subscribe and then find it on our channel. Please comment below. Tell us what you think. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and hit the bell next to the subscribe button after you subscribe. This way you get the breaking stories before anyone. Give us a like. I really appreciate the likes, and I'll see you next time here at Not Fake News.